Beach, and today we're going to take a look at all the books I want to read in fall. And these are not just books that I feel like reading during fall. These are books that I've picked out because I think they have perfect fall vibes. They're spooky and they're like dark and they're giving seasonal, you know? I love that for us. Perfectly curated for the fall season for you and me. So I've broken them up into 3 categories. There's dark academia, spooky, and romances. And each category has 4 books, so that's 12 books in total for fall. So let's get started. Okay, so our first book, pretty predictably, is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Don't make the mistake of believing I've read this. It's tabbed up, but I have not read it. I got this like my first year of college, also my only year of college, but for a book club that I never attended. Didn't read it, didn't attend, but it is essentially the book that started, or from what I have read, it started the genre of dark academia and the aesthetic as well. So the book follows Richard, a college student who gets selected to be in this like elusive classics class where they learn about Greek and Latin literature. And he's there with like about 5 other students. And I think one of them, called Bunny, dies. And the rest of the book, not the rest of the book, the whole of the book is Richard years later reflecting on the events that led to his death. Pretty cool. We have themes of classism and elitism. I love that for us. It also looks pretty fun to annotate because there's a lot of Greek and Latin terms that are just not, you know, translated in the book. You have to Google them. So it's like, you can put the little definition in the note on the margins. Good for annotation and good for fall. The next book on our list is Babel by R.F. Kuang. And I've heard this described as a tonal response to The Secret History, which I think could be pretty interesting. Babel follows the story of Robin Swift, a Chinese man in 1830s England who is accepted to a prestigious college to study the art of translation, which in this universe, I believe, is a form of magic where you get power from translating things into different languages or something like that. I could be completely wrong with how the magic works, but it's like through linguistics and translation, there is magic and power. The book has themes of colonialism, xenophobia, racism, and sexism. And I think the racism part could be interesting because of how it's a tonal response to A Secret History where all the characters are white, but they tackle classism. And to tackle classism without also tackling racism and a few other isms is strange. And I think maybe that's how it's a tonal response, to be like, oh, and also people of color. But I suppose I'll see. I do, however, think I need to buddy read this with my friend Bunny because I don't know if I'm smart enough to read this book, if I'm being honest. It seems very dense and smart. And there's footnotes in it. Also, my book has some pretty cool sprayed edges. There's a little phrase on it that is super awesome. Next book is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This one I didn't read it. I started reading it, but it was like summer and 'twas not the season. So I stopped promptly. This book got like super hyped on TikTok and you know, it's really character driven and not plot driven, so I was on the fence about it. It might still be good. I have to finish it. But what's really cool is that there's little illustrations of the characters in it. She's pretty. So basically, 6 powerful magic users are contacted by this secret society called the Alexandrian Society, and they have a chance to compete, I suppose, for a position in the society. And they promise like wealth and knowledge and power and all that good shit. But will they all survive? I don't know. That's basically what it is. The last dark academia book we're gonna do is Bunny by Mona Awad. It has I stuck a pin in it because I got a pin for this book in a book subscription box, and I think it's cute. Bunny follows Samantha, a woman in a highly selective MFA program. However, she hates her classmates that are basically a clique of like 3 women who all call each other Bunny and are extremely close, and they hug a lot, and they're very weird. And everything changes when Samantha is sent an invitation to hang out with them at their little club meeting called the Smut Salon. And I don't really know what this book is about, but I saw a TikTok somewhere saying that like a bunny gets changed into a man, or a man gets changed into a bunny, and they're doing weird shit. But I like it. All right, now we're getting into the books that are a little bit spooky-ooky. And I'm gonna start with Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bazterrica. I'm sorry, I know I said that wrong. I really know I did. In a world where a virus has contaminated all meat, cannibalism becomes legal. Cannibalism soon becomes institutionalized and industrialized, and humans are starting to be bred for it to be eaten. And the story follows Marcos, a human meat supplier, and it's actually really scary and creepy and uncomfortable. And I started reading this a few months ago, and I stopped because I was like, I was deeply unsettled. But I don't DNF books because I'm a finisher, so I have to read it at some point. And it's creepy, so it's on our spooky-ooky list. Next up, What Moves the Dead, T. Kingfisher. This, I believe, is a retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher. The girls who know, the girls who don't should read this book, I guess. So, non-binary soldier Alex gets a letter from their friend Madeline Usher saying that she and her brother are dying. Big oof. They make their way over to their friend's house, and the house is an absolute fucking mess. And it's creepy, and there's fungus, and there's strange people doing strange things. And it's up to Alex to figure out what's going on, I guess, before the fungus consumes them. Look at this cover. Creepy. But also, this is only like 160 pages. Worth a read. House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I adore House of Hollow. I read it last year and I loved it. I like swallowed it whole. I read it in like maybe 3 hours. Oh, I love it. Okay, so 10 years ago, Iris and her sisters Gray and Vivi went missing for a month. And no one knows where they went. They don't even know. But they come back and they just reappear in the same place that they disappeared a month later. Except they're different, and they have gray hair and black eyes, and people can't help but act very strangely when they're around. 10 years later, they're all doing fine, basically. Gray ends up going missing, and Iris thinks that their disappearance 10 years ago has something to do with it. This was such a creepy little book. Like, there's a lot of imagery of like plants and animals growing out of your skin, which, but also is very vibey for what the book is. And it's great for spooky season. It's such a good book and I really want you to read it. We're gonna end our spooky books with Gallant by V.E. Schwab. this was surprisingly good. I thought it was gonna be about like, because it's called Gallon, I was like, oh, an adventure, blah 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 blah. It sounds like I fucking hate adventures. I like adventures. It wasn't appealing until I read the back. And then I was like, a ghost story? Yes. So apparently this book takes place in the same universe as V. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic series that I haven't read yet, but I have up on the shelf right there. Which should probably also be on this list, if I'm being honest, but that would make the list too long, and I don't want to. Gallant follows a girl called Olivia, who is both a mute and an orphan. That sucks. But on her 16th birthday, she gets a mysterious letter saying that she has family that's looking for her, and she's been invited to come and live with them in their ancestral home that they call Gallant. The only hiccup is that the one thing that Olivia owns that her mother gave to her is her diary. And in her mother's last diary entry, where it's very clear that she's gone crazy, she says, stay away from Gallant. But of course she's gonna go. And there's ghosts there. So she tries to decode her mother's diary, discover who her father is, and it's like a real self-discovery type thing, but also she has to discover the mysteries of the house that led her mom to run away. But it's a little slow in the beginning, I will say that. But if you can get past like the first maybe 50 pages, you're good. All right, and our romance books for fall are The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, Pumpkin Spice and Not So Nice by Becky Monson, A Pumpkin and a Patch by Jennifer Peel, and The Modern Girl's Guide to Magic by Lindsay Hall. And I don't know anything about these books. They just looked good, and some of them were on Kindle Unlimited. I'll have to die before you catch me taking a romance book seriously. So that's our romance section. Next. This whole video has been a farce. The odds that I will read any of these books this fall, slim to none, because I have an alternative TBR that takes priority. So what I'm saying is I made this TBR just for you guys to get some cool recs, and I hope you have a great time with it, because I will be stuck in a hell of my own design. No, a hell of Sarah J. Maas's design. I am but a cog in the machine that gives Sarah J. Maas money. So I have 7 long ass Sarah J. books to finish in autumn. Will I? I don't know. Point is, a Throne of Glass reading vlog coming soon.